when we do understand, Hunter, I think it leads to acceptance of differences.
Yeah.
Because we come from, I think, a culture that expects all our children to be alike because we raise them all alike. So it's not about that. It's about accepting the differences and being glad. Would we want to raise 5 firstborns or 5 youngest or you know what I'm saying? So their personalities will be different. I think we do need to honor them, and it helps us to accept what they do in their life.
You're listening to the Mindful Mama podcast, episode number 323. Today, we're talking about how birth order shapes your child with Yvonne Nass. Welcome to the Mindful Mama podcast, now with over 1 million downloads. Here, it's about becoming a less irritable, more joyful parent. At Mindful Mama, we know that you cannot give what you do not have. And when you've calm and peace within, then you can give it to your children. I'm your host, Hunter Clark-Field's Mindful Mama mentor. I help smart, thoughtful parents stay calm so they can have strong, connected relationships with their children. I've been practicing mindfulness for over 20 years. I'm the creator of Mindful Parenting, and I'm the author of Raising Good Humans, a mindful guide to breaking the cycle of reactive parenting and raising kind, confident kids. Welcome back to the Mindful Mama podcast, dear listeners. So glad you are here today. Hey, special welcome, of course, to you if you're new. This is an awesome episode to jump in on. 323, can you believe it? Oh my goodness. I am so excited for today's conversation because it is a special one to me. We are talking to the woman who was the parent coach for myself and my husband, Bill, when we were going bananas. When we were little, we did one of the best things we ever did, which was invest in what is most important to us and get help. And the help that we got was the great Yvonne Nass. And she is a Delaware certified parent educator, a certified Hadlerian family counselor, and she has developed and taught parent education curriculum to diverse groups of parents and caregivers for over 40 years. She does workshops for classroom management and Montessori teachers. She's worked for a nonprofit for 25 years, and she's the mother of 3, stepmother of 5, grandmother to 12, and now is the guardian of a great grandson who is an awesome kiddo who attends a Montessori school. So Yvonne is amazing. She's a really wonderful person. She came to my studio in person to record this. You'll hear it's maybe sound a little different. We had a lot of fun. She's an amazing lady, and I'm so happy to step into her footsteps in a way. And her birth order training is so powerful, and it's going to give you incredible insights into your kiddo. So can't wait for you to dive into this conversation. Before we do, I want to let you know that if you are, a therapist, a teacher, or a parent educator, or just maybe a real parenting junkie, and you're interested in bringing the mindful parenting curriculum to your community, I am enrolling the 2022 Mindful Parenting Teacher Certification program now. We take small, intimate groups, and I get to know everyone personally, and I am enrolling at that now. So if you are interested in applying to the program, go to mindfulparentingcourse.com/teach. Learn more about it. If you want to chat with me about it, I'm happy to chat with you about it. And just want to let you know, if you are ready to take it to the next level, ready to step into the role of teacher, which can be scary. You know what I learned at some point? I learned that it's not about being a perfect expert. It's about contributing to the conversation. And that's what I do. I feel like with the work I do in mindful parenting, with calming reactivity, with habits that steady the heart and the mind and the nervous system and the communication skills, I feel like I contribute to the conversation. And you don't have to be perfect at everything. It's about taking tools that really work and contributing to the conversation that turns things around for so many people. It's so, so powerful. So anyway, if you're interested, go to mindfulparentingcourse.com/teach. That's mindfulparentingcourse.com/teach and do your application. Get it in. Get it in. All right. So now let's go to this conversation without any more delay. Let's talk to Yvonne Nass about how birth order shapes your child. When I had Maggie and she was a toddler at Wilmington Montessori School, and I was like, go home and like cry every day because she was so challenging and it was so hard for us. You were like my first parenting teacher, which was amazing. And you came to WMS and you gave a class and it was very, very helpful. So I'm super psyched to bring you on the Mindful Mama podcast because now, you can be in the same stage, so to speak, as Dan Siegel and etc.
Oh my goodness.
who have been on the podcast. So I'm psyched to have you here. And one of the reasons I have you here is because you taught about birth order, which is so interesting. And it's so fascinating. And I haven't heard anyone talk about that. And it's so, so interesting. But just quickly, I mean, what got you into teaching parents, desperate, sad, pitiful
Oh my goodness.
parents?
I was a desperate parent
Isn't that the
with
way?
3 children way back in the day. Loved them. I didn't like living with them.
I can so relate.
So I decided to go on a hunt. Someone said that my firstborn was just immature. I had no clue what that meant.
Oh.
And come to find out, I had done everything for him. I thought that's what good mothers did. So if I could have eaten for him, I think I would have. And so
it would have been cleaner.
he was 7. My daughter was 5, and my youngest was 2. If he'd have been my firstborn, I would have never had another child. So there you go. That's where I was. So I went on a hunt, and what I found, Hunter, was Rudolf Dreikers' philosophy, which was based on Alfred Adler. And so my children have led me to my profession, and I just began to study it. And I got so excited with the help that I received because I began to understand, and all the redirection was based on encouragement. And so I got so excited about it. I thought, oh my gosh, I have to share this. I have to share this with as many parents as want it. And interestingly enough, none of my friends ever said they had problems. So I thought there was something wrong with me.
You're like describing, it's so funny because it's like a generational journey. Because like you were one of those people for me. And then I was like, oh my God, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
And there's so much to learn here. And I have to share this with everyone I can. But yeah, and I thought, my friends, they all seem fine. What's wrong with me?
Exactly. That's how I felt too. And I thought, but there's got to be other people that really want to hear this. And interesting, when you picked the topic of birth order was, I would go into high schools and give this information, and the students were like, "Oh, this is wonderful." I mean, their little eyes would light up, and that's a lot of fun too.
Oh
Yeah,
my God,
that's
amazing.
A lot of fun. So I'm anxious to share it.
All right, cool. Well, so birth order is a piece of something bigger, right? So do you want to give us the lay of the land of sort of the bigger context that we want to understand birth order in?
Yeah, I can do that very quickly. When children are born, they come into this world, and so they develop perceptions about the world is, people are, I am. And these perceptions are sort of like our what carries us through life. We believe that. And so in my training, we call that the family constellation. And then what impacts on that, Hunter, are the family values, the family atmosphere, the sex of the child, and birth order.
Mm.
And so it has helped me in my work to understand families that I continue to work with. And so the birth order part of it, though, is the most fun part of it, I think, as we begin to look at how do they develop these perceptions. And parents tend to blame themselves a lot for how their children turn out and why aren't they all alike? But I raised them all the same. And so, yeah, there's a curiosity around it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that psychology has done a lot of blaming of parents for how we are in the past. So it's no wonder that we're blaming ourselves. But you're saying that like that not only is there's also obviously a big place for nature, genetics, and et cetera, all those things, but
Sure.
like it's such a complex, I love the word constellation of things, right? There's all these causes and influences, and one of them that makes an impact that we often overlook, which is why I wanted to talk to you today,
Sure.
is the order of the birth, because it's a totally different experience for like my first child versus my second child. I mean, I was like just so much more relaxed for my second child.
Right.
But so get us started.
Okay.
What happens
Well,
first? Baby's born, and then we're all freaking out, and their
and
experiences.
this is how I look at it, as I've worked with these little people. Getting born is like coming into a stage play.
Mm.
So there are already people operating on this stage of life. And so this little person comes into the world, they look around, and then they try to figure out, how am I going to fit? So when that first one comes into the world, they're an only child living in a world of adults. So they begin to develop perceptions about the world. And so what you're going to find with only children is that they enjoy being the center of attention because they are.
Yeah, they're the center of like the world
Everybody's
rotates around them.
world.
Yes.
Grandparents and aunts and uncles and whoever. So they're able to do that, and then they maintain that through the years, I think, by acting very adult-like. If you notice with only children, they talk like adults because adults are their models. So when they're explaining something, it's very clear. It's not childlike.
That's how Maggie was when she was very precocious in language, but like when she was 2 years old, she'd just pop out these sentences, and I'd be like, "Who are you?
Where did that come from?" Right? Yeah. And so they're able to do that. And then and the other thing is, if say the family is two parents and this child, they will begin to consider themselves part of the adult world. So what they will do is give input. You'll say, put your shoes away. Well, why? You left yours out. And then, of course, the parents think it's disrespect, but basically it's the perception of this child who feels they have equal rights.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
It does make sense. And then that's all this whole like center of the universe. I'm, like being the most important one, and this feeling of being in the adult world, that gets kind of overturned when child number 2 comes along, right? But it depends when child
Absolutely. And here's the thing, though, that the oldest will usually do very well academically and intellectually. Yeah, because they're read to a lot. They're very comfortable through life with older friends.
Okay.
Sometimes marrying someone older than them. They're just more comfortable, I think, with the maturity level of older friends. They can be, I want to share this with your people, is that they can be very possessive of what they love. And sometimes that's parent. So that if you have a son, he can be very possessive of his mom and vice versa. Oh, that's my daddy. don't sit next to him, and they'll get right in the middle of you and push you away. And it's fun to watch them do that. And then they really like you to recognize how special they are. And Hunter, what's interesting is, and you're all and so are the people out there who are going to listen to this, because perceptions don't leave us.
Yeah.
So it's not going to change. This is who I am.
Stay tuned for more Mindful Mama podcast right after this break. Get ready for the ultimate winter night in, brought to you by Beam. So I'm so thrilled they are a sponsor of the podcast, because Beam is a functional wellness brand. It makes products for sleep, for calm, focus, recovery, and hydration. And I'm so excited because for just a limited time only, their Beam's best-selling product, Dream Powder Hot Cocoa, now comes in delicious white chocolate peppermint. So, there's swirls of peppermint mix with creamy white chocolate for guilt-free hot cocoa of your holiday dreams. It's the perfect winter wind down for those cold, snowy nights, and it's triple lab tested and contains the ultimate sleep-promoting ingredients: nano CBD, reishi, magnesium, I-theanine, and melatonin. It has no added sugar or artificial sweeteners, so you can curl up with a guilt-free cup of white chocolate peppermint dream right before bedtime and get your best night's sleep ever. I know that personally, when I don't get a good night's sleep, I am a grumpy, miserable mom the next day. It really affects everything, from the way I am with my kids to my levels of happiness to how well I work. I can't function the next day. Getting a great night's sleep is incredibly important to me, which is why I'm so thrilled about this. People absolutely love the Dream Powder. There's a review, Jennifer M. wrote, "I've suffered from insomnia for years and I've tried just about every supplement on the market, and this by far is the most effective. I'm very grateful for it. I fall asleep quickly and sleep deeper and longer. Thank you, Beam." And Melanie wrote, "This stuff is legit. I'm a gym rat who just turned 50 and has sleep issues. I take this at 10 p.m. and sleep from 11 to 6 a.m. The best part is that I wake up refreshed and ready to hit the gym." Wow, right? Like, not only is it like cozy and comfy, but it really, really works. So white chocolate peppermint dream powder only lasts for a limited time, so get it while it's hot. Great news. For a limited time, if you subscribe to any Beam product, you can also take advantage of their best sale of the year for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. You'll get 40% off the first 3 months of any subscription, plus a free mug and frother, or 20% off any one-time purchase. Again, this is Beam's biggest sale of the year, and it won't last long. So head to beamorganics.com/hunter. That's BEAM organics.com/hunter for 40% off the first 3 months of any Beam subscription, plus a free mug and frother, or 20% off any one-time purchase. Subscriptions are month to month and can be paused or canceled anytime. It's a no-brainer. So head over there. That's beamorganics.com/hunter. Well, also we have confirmation bias, right? So we tend to look for the things that confirm what we already believe.
Yes.
So we're going to just hone in on the things that tell you I'm special, etc. Actually, my oldest daughter was looking at her astrological birth chart last night of all the things. And, that's obviously that's something that makes us feel very special when we look at like, oh, I'm this unique piece of the universe that is this particular way. And she said, "Mom," she said, "you should read this. You might get some insights."
See?
And I was like,
See?
"Okay, yeah."
Yeah. It's just really fascinating. And to add to I was an only child, and to add to that was I had an aunt who had 2 daughters older than me, but she thought I was very special. And if I would draw on the wall, she'd bring everybody in to see it. I could tell you stories about her daughters later, but that was my specialness. And so it like I say, the perceptions stay. But yes, you're right. If there is another child coming onto the stage of life, then your only will become a firstborn.
Mm.
And what we know about firstborns are they have to be first.
Mm.
So if you're a teacher and you say line up, they'll knock each other over. To be first in line, they'll want to stay first. So they had their eyes on the second one coming up. So I'm not going to teach them C to get better than me, but I might do for them to keep them where they need to be.
Oh. Actually, that's funny because that is like when Maggie and I have been doing, we joined the Newcastle County Sailing Club, and we're both learning how to sail these like boats, and it's really interesting. And we were both on the boat with an instructor, and I had to say, Maggie, don't do the knot for me because she knows all these knots now from Scouts. I was like, can you just teach me how to do the knot so I can learn how to do it?
But see, it let me show you how smart I am, because I have to keep my place. And so that is so much firstborn. They usually do very well. And if they buy into the family values, then they will get the reputation of being the good kid because they've bought those values. Okay, yeah. And so, yeah. And so that is, again, they will act adult-like. And now they can be caretakers again, because I'm going to keep you little.
Oh, no. This is amazing because I bet, dear listener, like you may be nodding along if you have an older child, but maybe also if you are the firstborn, right. You're probably like, oh my God,
that's me.
This is so me. I would love to find out. That's hilarious.
Yes, that's me. And they, it's interesting now. Again, because of the perceptions of the family values and what I have to do to keep my place, they're usually rule followers, so they'll want to know the rules. And so you'll see them in school. Make sure they tell other people what the rules are. So teachers usually enjoy this information because they do that. So it's interesting. In the meantime, if you do have another sibling, then that little person has come into the stage of life and has a little person in front of them. So obviously,
fascinating, I imagine. It's like,
well, what they're going to do, they don't have these big adults. They just have a little person. So they're running to catch up.
Yeah. So
that firstborn's looking over his shoulder, and that secondborn is looking forward. And interestingly, Hunter, they usually accomplish things quicker because they do have a little person in front of them. And so, we don't have to spend all that time teaching them how to ride a bike. They pick it up, they ride, and off they go. So, yeah, they're freer to ignore the rules because there is somebody ready to tell them what they are.
The older child is saying, you have to do this. And
oh my gosh. But see, they know the rules. So guess what the oldest is? Bossy.
Totally. Yes.
Adult siblings tell me that.
Oh my God.
Oh, my sister was so bossy. That's the word. And the other thing is that they are also tattletales, those firstborns, because see, they can get everybody else into trouble. Look what he did. Mommy, come see what he did. Yeah.
What do you say to parents about tattletaling? Because obviously, we want our kids to respect the boundaries we set in our house, but tattletailing's not cool because it's undermining the relationship between the siblings. What advice do you give for parents about that?
I always say thank you, and whatever has happened, I remember my three, again, painting on a wall. The two oldest encouraged the youngest to do this. And they were ready to tell me. And I said, well, you all need to get a bucket and rags. So I just put them all in the same boat. And then all of a sudden, nobody's squealing on anybody else.
Interesting.
Yes. Because how much fun is it to get somebody in trouble?
I don't know. I was a second-born, so
There you go. But these little guys are very active, your second-borns. You're going to see them very active, very energetic. Sometimes they even get diagnosed hyperactive because of this whole idea of, I got to get there. I got to be that good because they have that little person in front of them. And the other thing, because they don't have to follow all these rules, you'll find that oldest can be very serious about life, but you'll find that second-borns are fun.
Oh.
Yeah, they're just fun lovers. They have a nice smile, and they talk, and they're just more relaxed. And so I'm glad you're doing your mindfulness parenting because firstborns might need it.
They might need to calm down.
To chill out a little. Chill out a little. Yeah, we're not going to do it perfect.
We should do a survey in mindful parenting to see who's a firstborn and a secondborn.
That's right.
Really
Tell them to send that to you because it really would be, and what their issues are. Because I can tell right away when I see families.
If you're firstborn, are you more prone to trying to kind of control the situation?
Oh yes, because you absolutely the oldest knows what's right. They've watched adults tell them, so they know. Of course, I'm going to control this family and keep the secondborn where they need to be. But so it's interesting to watch. And
I think we see a lot of when I saw my firstborn telling my second daughter what to do and hearing the words coming out of her mouth and how unskillful they were at that point because she was mimicking me and my words were not so skillful at that point. She was just barking orders at Sora and I was like, oh man, boy, this is a wake up call. I've got to shift the way I'm talking.
Well, the one thing we do know, and you can take this to the bank, is that your first and secondborn are directly opposite of each other. Because we can't occupy the same space. So in most families, you'll see that. And so if we decide to go and have another one, like I did, then when that little guy comes into the world, then they've got two older role models in front of them.
Oh my gosh.
So they look around and say, how will I fit? But see, by this time, we have adults and we have children. And so that youngest needs a lot of help. So if you have a youngest, you probably have someone very helpless. And the way we get the help is by our charm.
Aww.
And our manipulation. I'm sorry. I love you.
Oh, no.
With this great big smile. And then your heart melts. That's okay, baby. Where when your firstborn did it,
you were firmer.
So they surely do train us in a way. And so, yeah, that would really, the youngest really is a fun lover, very social. And usually, interestingly enough, and this is another statistic you can look at, they become our entertainers.
Oh, wow, really?
Because they have an audience.
Yeah.
My youngest was in theater, so he could do puppet shows for everybody, and he could do joke telling, and, he just sailed through life like that. And no worries. Life was going to be good to him.
Yeah.
And, and a lot of friends. And so that's kind of where the youngest sits. Now, that dynamic, though, and I'll use three, but if you have larger families, we can talk about that too. But That then causes your second-born to become a middle.
Yeah.
Meaning that they have one in front and one behind.
Mm-hmm.
So they are always looking both ways.
Mm.
Okay.
And maybe like identifying more with the older and then identifying more with the younger, kind of flipping maybe back and forth between those.
No,
Or-
what they do, Hunter, is fascinating when you really look at a true middle child. They see what the oldest gets.
Uh-huh.
They see what the youngest gets, and they know one thing: I don't get it.
Oh,
So they begin to feel left out or apart from the family.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to buy them a T-shirt, it says "Life is unfair."
Oh no.
Mm-hmm. So life is very unfair to our middle children, and looking both ways, then sometimes will impact on their ability to make decisions. But what the gift is for our middle children, it makes them extremely empathic because they know what it feels like to be left out.
Oh.
So they suffer a little bit, but they're very empathic. These are the people that will grow up marching for causes.
Huh.
Yeah, because they know that feeling. They know what that feels like.
Marginalization.
And sometimes even what will happen is that the oldest and the youngest will build an alliance, which even therefore will even leave the middle child more left out.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really picturing, as you speak about this, I just can't help but picture Bobby from the Brady Bunch. That wasn't Bobby, whatever the middle one was. Anyway, but yeah.
And the one thing we know is they're usually the most different in the family, so that parents will say, "Where did he come from? How do we get him?"
Mm-hmm.
I had 3 nieces, and they very much followed the birth order. And the middle child, she was the boy that was not in the family, but not in the sense of being a physical boy, but just so different from the prissy girls.
Oh yeah. So she may not have been like trans, but she was like, I am just the
broke the rules, rebellious,
Yeah.
did whatever she wanted to do. She'd come to my house, and the first thing she'd say to me, my children and those girls were close in age, and she'd say, "And Yvonne, don't tell my mother I wash dishes here." Because she would never wash a dish, that kind of thing. And
Don't ruin my rep.
Yeah, and she was, and even making decisions about life, she was different. Now, my daughter was a middle of 2 boys. What made her different was she was a girl.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, she was not prissy because she had 2 brothers. So she was one of the guys. And the alliance in my family was the oldest and the second born.
So will you see kids like make alliances? And I guess then if you get into like even a larger family, you're going to see all kinds of different alliances and stuff.
You can, yeah. But say you have 5 children.
Okay.
That middle will be the middle.
Okay. Oh.
As soon as you see the most different child in the family, and it's not bad. It's not a bad thing. They just make their mark that way. Yes, and so it's just fascinating, I think, to watch. Again, their perceptions of it.
Well, and one thing that when you taught this years ago to me and to my husband, one thing I thought was really interesting is that there's only children, and then some, depending on how far apart your kids are.
Yes.
Like a younger sibling may be more like an only child. Like my dad and his brother were 7 years apart, right? So there's a certain number of years, right, where it was almost like they were both only children.
Yes, it's usually it's around 7 years, 5 to 7, when the oldest will go off to school or have their place sewed up. There are families. I had a dear friend. She had 3 children, each of them 7 years apart. So she raised 3 only children.
Wow.
So yeah, and the other thing that changes at 200, if you have a special child, that can change the figuration of the birth order.
Like a kid with special needs
Yes.
or
Yeah,
okay.
that can change the configuration perhaps. Or again, perceptions. I have dear friends who had 5 children, and their firstborn just always wanted to be an only, even though the children were maybe 3 years apart. And she remained an only all her life. So when the second-born came into the world, he became the firstborn. It was a male. And then the next child became the firstborn girl. And then we had a middle. It was very different. And then we had a youngest.
So you're saying there are basically more than one firstborn in the family, like according to like the type. Is that what you're saying?
It can be. You could have, depending on how many children you have, you could have a firstborn boy or a firstborn female.
Stay tuned for more Mindful Mama podcast right after this break. The holidays are all about coming together and creating the magic of the season. And so that is why I am thrilled that KiwiCo is a sponsor of the Mindful Mama podcast, because sure, you can buy ornaments, but isn't building your own so much more awesome? This year, KiwiCo invites your family to make the holidays a little more hands-on, all while learning a thing or two along the way. KiwiCo is the one-stop gift shop for kids of every interest, every age. So not only can you make your own ornaments, but you can get the gifts that really give back creativity, curiosity. They learn. Kids can discover mechanics behind everyday objects, learn the science of cooking, explore new cultures, and practice new art and design techniques, all through like their seriously fun hands-on projects. So I really encourage you to give a KiwiCo subscription and celebrate a love for hands-on learning all year long. My daughter Sora has loved the Tinker Crate so much, but I also have to tell you, my daughter Maggie, who's older, she's 14, she did an awesome box where she created headphones that I've actually been using in my studio. Like, these are real working headphones. They're like incredibly well-crafted wooden pieces. She had so much fun. She was so focused, so into it, just like everything dropped away while she did this like creative project. It was so satisfying to see her do that, and she was so proud of that work. It really is awesome. So when you subscribe to a KiwiCo crate, they have ones for every single age. They're really high quality. Your child will get this super cool, they'll get hands-on science, art, and geography, whatever, projects delivered right to your door every month. And they're going to be so excited to see these arrive in the mail. KiwiCo Day becomes the favorite day of the month. My girls would get so excited when they saw their name on this package every month. It was super, super exciting for them. And it's just so great to cultivate this natural curiosity, from discovering the science of magic to engineering to a domino machine and more. And they get this pride of accomplishment, right? It's so much better than just like taking in things, taking in entertainment. They get this focus, accomplishment, creative confidence. It really creates this confidence for ongoing tinkering and experimentation. And it's so easy. There's no commitment, so you can pause or cancel anytime. This holiday season, give the gift of a fun, hands-on holiday experience with KiwiCo. Get 50% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line with the code HUNTER at kiwico.com. That's 50% off your first month at kiwico.com. Use the promo code HUNTER. Okay, cool. So just so I get it straight. So we're just trying to understand these character traits and say, okay, this has a big impact, right? Like this, you're a leader, you want to control things, etc. You want to achieve, and you have this niche as following the rules because of this position of where you are, and understanding maybe the baby as like you're the entertainer, right? Or because of this wanting attention in the second. It's fascinating. It's interesting how much it lines up. So, but it how what do you say as far as like, are we parenting them differently, or we're just using this knowledge to understand them a little bit more and understand what their needs and etc. are?
I think it leads, when we do understand, Hunter, I think it leads to acceptance of differences.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we come from, I think, a culture that expects all our children to be alike because we raise them all alike. So it's not about that. It's about accepting the differences and being glad. Would we want to raise 5 firstborns or 5 youngest? Or, you know what I'm saying? So their personalities will be different. I think we do need to honor them, and it helps us to accept what they do in their life. When you look, another trait of a youngest is they're usually better observers, and they won't volunteer information a lot of times. For instance, in a classroom, because at home no one listens. So when I would hold my family meetings weekly, and we'd look at the calendar and make decisions about what's going on in the week, and the youngest would never have an opportunity to talk. And when he would try, what do you know?
Oh no.
That kind of thing, because he was. And so we finally got to the point. This is a little tool I'll give your listeners. They had to use a spoon. Whoever had the spoon could talk.
The talking spoon. That's great.
Yes. Otherwise, we couldn't monopolize. Because we did have, guess who?
Firstborn.
See how easy this is? We learn very quickly. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I think that's what it helps us do. And I think if we could accept the differences, honor them, enjoy them, but treat our family as a group, all of us. And if you have a firstborn parent, then they could use that talking spoon too, and they could do more listening, and we could do more problem solving together, so that everybody has an input, and then we become a family unit that I think everybody really wants.
Yeah. So we're paying it, saying, okay, like you're craving this attention. Let me just remember that, you need this structure and leadership position. Like that's fine.
Yeah, or giving that youngest the gavel to run the meeting. Or instead of asking the oldest, watch your brother. My whole thing was, you all know I'm going out. Sitter's coming. You all know what the rules are. You all know what to do. When I come home, I will check with each one of you to see if you follow. So I didn't have any tattletaling, and I didn't have all that reminding, and so it's sort of putting the responsibility on each one and giving each one the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, with my youngest, like, because she is the youngest, oftentimes, like, if they were in so we went to a Renaissance fair a while back, and they went off on their own to do something, and I gave my youngest the money and said, you take responsibility for this. And my oldest was kind of shocked that I had actually given her the responsibility, because it went against pattern. But that I love what you're saying, because it's reminding us to not just fall into these autopilot patterns because of order. You're reminding us to have fresh looking at, like, who are you, and what are your needs, and all of that. I think it's really, really helpful.
Yeah, good.
Thank you so much, Yvonne.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I love talking about this.
I knew you were a talker, so I would think it would be fabulous to talk to you for the podcast.
And good luck with your podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
People want to find out more about you and the work you've done, etc. Where can they find you?
YvonneNass.com.
Nass.
Nass.
And she's a fabulous educator in Wilmington, Delaware. We love her. Thank you so much, Yvonne. I really appreciate you. I appreciate that you're doing this work. I appreciate your example and your leadership, and you were so relaxed in the class, and you 12 years ago and whatever you helped me take a breath, and you've helped so many people. I'm sure those ripple effects are really going out wide. So thank you so much.
So welcome. My pleasure.
Isn't that so fascinating? I loved talking to Yvonne and having her here at the studio to talk, and just so wonderful. And I feel like it's so insightful. The more aware we can be about all the myriad of different needs and causes and conditions that are out there, the more we stop our autopilot thinking and get more curious, I think. So I hope this episode has opened up some curiosity for you into your child, maybe into yourself and your partner, who knows, about birth order. And I hope it's been helpful. Just a quick reminder, remember, if you're interested in the Mindful Parenting Teacher Training, enrollment for 2022 is open now. And if you liked this episode, make sure you are subscribed and you leave a review on wherever you're listening to podcasts, Apple Podcasts. It helps people find the podcast. More people get all these great experts and great learning. So please do leave a review and make sure you're subscribed, and let me know, share the episode. Let me know how it goes for you. We have a whole team of people who work for you to get this podcast out. And when you subscribe, leave review, share it around, you help support that team for me to pay these amazing people to do all the work it takes to get this podcast out to you. So please do leave a review and share it around. And I'm wishing you a great week. I hope you're hanging in there. I hope if you're having Thanksgiving, I hope it's like, breathe in, breathe out. Try to take some time to chill and to offer some grace and forgiveness for everybody who's got all their own causes and conditions and challenges and traumas and things. So anyway, wishing you the best, my friend. Thank you so much for listening. As always, so glad to connect with you, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, namaste.
I'd say definitely do it. It's really helpful. It will change your relationship with your kids for the better. It will help you communicate better. And I'd say communicate better as a person, as a wife, as a spouse. It's been really a positive influence in our lives. So definitely do it.
I'd say definitely do it. It's so worth it. The money really is inconsequential when you get so much benefit from being a better parent to your children and feeling like you're connecting more with them and not feeling like you're yelling all the time or you're like, why isn't things working? I would say definitely do it. It's so worth it. It'll change you.
No matter what age someone's child is, it's a great opportunity for personal growth, and it's a great investment in someone's family. I'm very thankful I had this.
You can continue in your old habits that aren't working, or you can learn some new tools and gain some perspective to shift everything in your parenting.
Are you frustrated by parenting? Do you listen to the experts and try all the tips and strategies, but you're just not seeing the results that you want? Or are you lost as to where to start? Does it all seem so overwhelming with too much to learn? Are you yearning for a community of people who get it, who also don't want to threaten and punish to create cooperation? Hi, I'm Hunter Clark-Fields, and if you answered yes to any of these questions, I want you to seriously consider the Mindful Parenting membership. You'll be joining hundreds of members who have discovered the path of mindful parenting and now have confidence and clarity in their parenting. This isn't just another parenting class. This is an opportunity to really discover your unique, lasting relationship, not only with your children, but with yourself. It will translate into lasting, connected relationships, not only with your children, but your partner too. Let me change your life. go to mindfulparentingcourse.com to add your name to the waitlist, so you will be the first to be notified when I open the membership for enrollment. I look forward to seeing you on the inside. mindfulparentingcourse.com.